Welcome one, welcome all to the Mad Poet Show. Thanks for being here. It's good to be back playing music again. Got Hans tuning in from YouTube. Says, dude is playing. Yes, it's good to see you, man. Thanks for coming in. I haven't seen you for quite a long time. I hope you are doing well. I've been doing daily shows here. I'm going to be continuing to do daily shows through the end of March. I'm just kind of seeing where things go. Han is noticing that he's the only one watching from YouTube. Yeah, I don't have a large viewership out there. I kind of play weird music, and it's not for everybody, which is totally okay. But for those who are tuning in, the cool kids, welcome. Thank you for being part of the Mad Poet Society. I really need to clean these glasses. So wherever you're tuning in from, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, DLive, Trovo, LiveSpace, Nemo, Nono, Vaughn, Picardo, Africa, wherever you're coming in from, thank you very much for being here. It's always good to be playing guitar. You guys should be playing guitar. I ate pizza today, and I'm playing guitar today. Today's a good day. I'm a happy boy here. All right, let's keep on rocking. Yeah, it is about time. I agree. Let's keep on rocking here. This next one's in D minor. It's called The Ghost of Temptation. Well, I hope everyone is having a good time out there today, whatever it is that you're doing. I'm always having a good time because, well, like I said, guitars and pizza. Got, Hans has just followed on Twitch as well. Jumping over to Twitch, absolutely. Welcome to Twitch. Thanks for the follow, BT Dub. Great to have you here. It's interesting when people kind of make comparisons of the various platforms. YouTube and Twitch are kind of the big wigs of streaming. And a lot of people say that the video quality is often better on YouTube. A lot of people do talk about how the chat function is better on Twitch. They're both good platforms. All of these really are good platforms. I've really been impressed by DLive lately. There's some really cool stuff that goes on over there. The stream quality of streamers is pretty much the same everywhere you go, but just the way the various platforms work. Real excited about the possibilities for LiveSpace, which is currently in beta. I've talked about that a little bit in the past. But yeah, tuning in from wherever. So again, yes, thanks for the follow on Twitch. Do appreciate it. Thanks for being a subscriber on YouTube. And for anyone out there, wherever you're tuning in from, if you are a subscriber, a follower, a viewer, a chatter, a listener, whatever it is, I appreciate you being here and appreciate you being part of the Mad Poet Society. For those who don't know, I am the Mad Poet. You are an audience. We are the Mad Poet Society, and this song is called 6 Hours Ago. Yeah, make this chat screen a little bigger here. Oh, I can read that. So Hans says getting more emails from here, which YouTube doesn't. Oh, YouTube doesn't send notifications anymore. That might be something I've done wrong in YouTube, or something that I need to switch, or who knows. Not really getting informed. Is that like you're not getting informed about things in general, or just about me? I'm kind of curious. And I will have to check my Discord for that message. I'll see what you got on there. I haven't been very active on Discord lately. It's just a type of social media, and I don't do much of it. I've actually got a few people I probably need to catch up with on there, so I have to open that up today. All right. So yeah, I will. Do it. Let me know either through chat or even on Discord if it's just me you're not getting notifications from for YouTube. Because I am kind of curious about if there maybe is something I'm just doing wrong. That would not be a difficult thing to believe at all. Anyway, playing music, playing guitar, having a good time, drinking water. Already had my pizza. I have been working on programming lights. I don't know quite how far I am into it, but I'm programming lights for my 46th album. That one's never been played live. It's called Solace in Delirium. I did do a rope jumping stream probably half a year or so back with that one. And as I was jump roping on stream, I'm like, oh, this would be a good one to play live. I need to buckle down and just get a lot more of my albums programmed for live purposes. It's a big, complex process getting them into shape just to be playable on stream, because it's just such a different system that I use for live versus what I did on recordings. And programming the lights, I mean, every album has on average about 25,000 light commands. So it takes a while to punch all that information in, but it's worth it because the light show ends up being pretty awesome in the end. So let's get that light show running. Speaking of running, this next song is called On the Run. Just kind of checking things out here. Feels like this show is actually going a bit smoother than the last few have. Last night was pretty smooth. I just, if you weren't watching, it was just a composition stream. I sat and wrote the majority of a song for an upcoming album. I'm not even sure which album that's going to be on yet. But that was a lot of fun. We had some really good questions in about music theory, composition, and guitar, understanding guitar and sheet music and all kinds of stuff. So that was a good time. We got some music written. But yeah, this the last couple of concert streams have been a little on the rough side, and kind of start to feel like, gosh, do I even know what I'm really doing here? Maybe I should just stop playing guitar and play video games for the rest of my life. That's not an option for me. That's not going to happen. I got nothing against video games. I play City of Heroes occasionally. That's about the only one I play. But if people want to play video games, power to you. But I am definitely not the person who can just kick back and play video games all the time. So, nonetheless, we're going to slow it down here. Get into some diminished mode craziness in E. Locrian at 103 beats a minute. This song is called You May Be Wondering. And Hans says that no, YouTube did not stop sending out emails in general, so who knows? It's possible that something is different for that you're not, didn't hit the bell or what. I don't know what YouTube does these days. It's possible that I got something set up. I'll see what's going on. I'll check with Sarah and see if she gets them and look in my settings and see if, and it might just be because I'm just a small channel and get very low priority, which I know is absolutely a thing on pretty much every form of social media out there. It's it's part of the game we play. That's how it works. That's fine. Yeah, we're just gonna kind of stay mellow here for a few minutes. Kind of had a nice mellow Locrian thing there. Getting to some B flat minor on this next one. Getting nice and mellow. This is dedicated to my grandma Marie, and it's called The Shadow's Embrace. So what do we got coming up here? To think beyond rationality. Ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived at the G sharp minor portion of the show. You are welcome. It's good playing a G sharp minor. I was talking about this, I might have been on the stream yesterday where I was composing, just kind of talking about some of my favorite keys. C sharp minor and G sharp minor are really cool, largely because of the way that you can pivot around the open E string. That really kind of gives a little extra, just, I don't know, there's something that really works in those particular keys. Probably 2 years ago, maybe more than that. No, gosh, now I think about it. A while back, I did my own transcription of Isaac Albéniz's Leyenda. And some people may know the, this won't sound quite right. Very well known on classical guitar, originally written in fact for piano. And I'll need to once I get this up to speed, I'll need to play it on stream. So it's usually played in E minor on the guitar because its original key of G minor doesn't fit. So I set out to be like, could I do a G minor interpretation of this on guitar? Could I put it back in its original key? And I was able to do it. It was what I ended up having to do was tune both E strings to D, so it was known as double drop D tuning. Drop D, where you just tune the 6th string down, that's very common in metal. And I have conceived over the years of the possibility of doing a metal version of Albéniz's Leyenda, and I think it would be pretty kicking. It's a pretty intense piece of music, but just thinking about how different keys fit on the guitar, stuff like that, always brings me back to my Leyenda transcription. And it's cool doing transcriptions, even though there are some really, really good transcriptions out there of a lot of these popular classical guitar pieces. But when you do the transcription yourself, you learn so much about what the composer had actually set down. So there's a place in most transcriptions where there's a bunch of octaves that get played. This kind of thing. And on the piano, when Albéniz wrote the original, he did it with double octaves. And so I was like, why are people not putting the double octaves on the guitar? That's like the easiest thing ever. And I think it really kind of, it opens a song up in ways that I think are kind of more true to the composer's original intent. Nonetheless, I've been having fun with it. I've been practicing classical guitar a bit more. I may have a private classical guitar performance coming up this summer, so I kind of got to get my chops in order. Right now, if I were put on the spot to play a classical guitar show, it would be bad. That would fail. I am definitely not up to speed on my classical chops. There's a few pieces I could hack my way through, but the good stuff, not so much. I can do Koyunbaba. Koyunbaba always looks impressive, but it's actually one of the easier pieces that I play. I always end with that one in my classical guitar shows because it is such an impressive piece to watch someone play. But as far as actual level of difficulty, if I were to put everything in order of difficulty for my set from easiest to hardest, Koyunbaba would go right in the middle. But still a great piece. Leyenda would particularly my transcription of Leyenda would definitely be after Koyunbaba for the level of difficulty show, and it would end with the grand solo by Napoleon Costa. Not even a competition. Nonetheless, let's get some G sharp minor going here. This piece is called To Think Beyond Rationality. Moving on along here, we're playing Finite Reality today. That's the album name. It's my 60th. I am working away currently on albums 67 and 68. Both very interesting albums from my perspective, particularly 68 because that's part of the Asymmic Writing series. Each of the Asymmics albums is just one song that's 52 minutes, 25 seconds long. And it's a wild thing to write, record, and to perform. I am still planning to do all three of my current Asymmic writings as a show, probably sometime next week. I still have some prep work to do on those to get those up to speed. So probably sometime next week I'll do a 3-album thing with those three. And that I'm looking forward to because there's something about the way you can get into music when a piece of music is that long. You just get into the zone in different ways. So that'll be fun. This Saturday I'm going to play 3 albums. I'm going to call it the Murder Metal Show. I'm going to be playing Murder Terminology, The Patron Saint of Murderers, and An Innocent Assassin. So that should be a good time. We'll see how that goes. And right now we're playing Finite Reality. After this we're going to play, Partially Inexplicable, my 53rd album. And it should be a good time. I'm having a good time. Not sure what to say about this, but that last one was called To Think Beyond Rationality, keeping with the thought concept. This song is called Thought Is All I Am. what song's coming up when they're coming up, because as I've said before, I don't know the names of my songs until the sheet music pops up with the right page for me. Really looking forward to getting back out and doing some running. I'd gone for a run probably about, I don't know, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And it was awesome. It was a really nice day. And kind of this time of year out here in Eastern Washington, it can be like, 50 degrees one day and then snowing the next. So I went out for a really nice run, about 3 miles, felt great. Started snowing a couple days later, and haven't been back out, but we're getting that time of year. It's March now, so we're getting to that time of year. It's going to start warming up and getting into the really good weather. We get really good running weather out here. Usually a week or two in the middle of summer where it's like, nope, not going out in those temperatures. The highest we've seen is 116. Certainly there are hotter places in the world, and there are colder places in the world than it gets in the winter, but still, it's 107, 114, 110 degrees out. Not a good idea to go running in those temperatures. And of course, when there's ice on the ground and you can die of hypothermia in a matter of minutes, also not a great idea to go running. So I do have some limitations on when I will go out, but we're getting close. I'm really looking forward to it. I love getting out with a good run. And some people say you shouldn't exercise listening to music because it is an additional source of dopamine, or it's cheating or whatever. I do listen to music when I'm running, but a lot of times it's more kind of a clinical thing, because I'm listening to my own music and I'm listening to it for the elements of the mix and what's happening with the production and the composition and all that. So it's really kind of more of a study of my own music while I'm out there doing that stuff. And that's an interesting aspect of it as well. So it's like, is it getting me pumped up? When I was working on Incomprehensible Isolation, it was interesting because I started listening to that on my runs to get a sense of what was going on. And I listened to that album so much out there that at first it's like, I'm enjoying the music and I want to fix the production because I want to hear these various elements that weren't being allowed to come out with clarity in the production. And then I got to where I just hated it. I absolutely hated it. And then I kept listening to it so much that I ended up really liking it again. And then I found that it got to a point where I would be like kind of actively looking forward to hearing it. So I'm sure it was kind of a cheat on my runs at that point, because it's like, I'd be listening to these songs and I'm like, oh yeah, this does get you pumped up. This is awesome. The other thing I like to do is listen to a lot of old school rap while I'm running. I've been kind of catching up on my old school rap. And it was kind of a result of, there's an argument that goes around at times about whether or not rap is music. This is not about rap. This is my choking hobby. An argument of whether or not rap should qualify as music. And just to settle the argument, damn it. To settle the argument, rap is music, and it's quite good music. And the people who make these arguments really make these arguments just so they can exclude rap as being music. But it's like, if you listen to some of that old school, like NWA and Nas, some of the old Biggie stuff, it's so well done. They were clearly extremely passionate about their music, and that's the part that hits. So it's great stuff, and I definitely like catching up on, and the old Curtis Blow stuff. I really like. Curtis Blow was kind of at the forefront of a lot of the rap, and it was still back when it was like R&B music with rapping rather than singing. And then kind of through Rick Rubin, rap kind of morphed into what it is today, and I love both aspects of that. But that old school rap with the more R&B kind of almost like a Motown track behind it. And it's such great stuff. Curtis Blow is one of my favorites. That's awesome stuff. Nonetheless, I will not be doing any rap here today. I've mentioned before that I'm working on my vocals. I'm getting pretty happy with a lot of it. Still don't know whether or not any of you will ever hear that, but I don't think I could pull off rapping. I could do heavy metal growls. I'm getting to where I might be able to do some actual singing. Rapping is a different thing, no. And I don't think that I could pull that off and do it justice. So I won't. But what I can do is play guitar. So let's do some of that. This song is called A Pile of Skulls. Right, we got one more song on this album. Then we're going to switch over to Partially Inexplicable, my 53rd. And getting in practice with the switchovers. They're going a little more smoothly. We'll see how this one works. I didn't do one yesterday, so I feel like it's one of those things where I kind of got to be practicing it quite a lot to stay on top of it. See if I can stay on top of this song. It's kind of written in a weird key because I was thinking wrong while I composed it. I thought I was writing an E minor. I was actually writing an E Phrygian. And I started using the sharp 7 of the E minor. So it ended up being a Phrygian sharp 7 mode. It kind of bounces back and forth and goes all over the place. And it's just lots of fun. This is called Before Eternity. right, let's pull up next album. Run through my little. I haven't actually made a physical checklist yet. I feel like I'm getting the mental checklist down pretty well on this. Definitely, but when starting a show, I've got a checklist. I pull it up, pop it on the screen, and there's just so many things. It's so easy to miss some little something here or there with any of that. And I feel like I've put a couple things in place for the transition to hopefully make it a little bit easier. And there we go. Couldn't quite find the right piece of sheet. And it's an interesting thing. When I open the sheet music, it'll often switch the position of the stuff in. Basically, it'll shut my microphone off by changing the cursor position. But that went fairly smooth. Let's see if this works. I think I've got everything in place. Partially Inexplicable. This first song is called Mistaken Identity. Mistaken Identity, 53rd album. Partially Inexplicable. One of my less interesting album covers, I would say. When it comes to album covers, I really like Patron Saint of Murderers, even though it is kind of plain. I feel like the colors and the little silly design that I made for that one works really well. Cyclops is one of my favorites. She's just an eyeball with a top hat. That one's freaking awesome. Innocent Assassin is pretty cool with the dagger. It was actually that dagger that's on the wall that you sometimes see in camp. I don't actually know how well that shows. Not very. There is a dagger on the wall over there. Yeah, that doesn't show up very well. I'm gonna have to probably move the weapons around a little bit. I feel like I need to put some up with the scythe over there, get them into a little better light. They're not showing up well enough. That's a cool album cover. But yeah, this album cover is kind of boring. It's a very, very fun album. This is my 53rd. This is my 53rd album. I feel like with my 55th album, Patron Saint of Murderers, that was the first time I took a fairly significant step with my production. I'd never really been happy with my production until my 65th album, Incomprehensible Isolation, where I spent 2 years just going crazy with production stuff. But I did take a fair jump at that point. And this one was kind of a turning point for me. I felt like it was just a really solid, listenable album. And then the next one was very light, but that's when, after that, I was like, okay, I need to do something else with the production. And so I took that jump with Patron Saint. And then again, when I got to 65, it's like, okay, now I got to buckle down harder and go for it a little bit better with this because something's not working. Nonetheless, fun album, fun to play. I really enjoy listening to this album, even with the old production on it. I feel like it sounds better here when I'm performing because I've updated the production to match what I currently know. Let's keep on going here. This next song is called Float Like a Rock. Oh, that's right, I was changing my cameras around. Now we're going to float like a rock. In the fairly near future, I plan to play a couple albums I haven't played for a long time. Attending the Shenanigans and It Matters Not. And those are ready to go, but I just kind of got to practice through them a bit. Those have always been more challenging to pull off in this live setting, particularly attending the Shenanigans. The music isn't any more difficult than I would say my average stuff is, but there's just something about that album. Actually, that one and Roswell are both kind of tough to pull off, and I'm not really sure why. They've always just both been a little on the weird side. Roswell, I really want to get together and get that one going live, but it's got the synth problem. You know, I've got this plugin that doesn't work anymore, and so I need to. That one relies so heavily on so many synths out of that one program. It's a little bit of a bummer that I can't get it working. There are some tricks I can do, but it's a little time consuming. I got to do it just right to get it. Like a lot of these that we're hearing now, these albums do have that in it, but I can just sub in a different synth sound and it's close enough. Some of the stuff on Roswell and also on Solace and Delirium, which I'm currently working up lights for, you just really kind of need those particular synths to get there, or something similar enough. Finding similar sounds it can be frustrating. I've got some students right now who are kind of in learning about production, and one thing we talk about is, there are so many synthesizer sounds out there. They're totally free, that you can just get this stuff. It's all over the place, and they're great. There's a lot of excellent stuff, but sometimes you can just spend days just like listening to different sounds and just being like, okay, yeah, I'm getting to the right place. It's what we call auditioning sounds can be really, really time consuming. And so I kind of want to make sure I don't go down the wrong path with it. And I just realized I forgot something on my transition that could be screwing stuff up right now. So let me rectify that. Where am I at here? Okay. Pop this open. Oh, I gotta make sure I'm looking at this correctly. I may not be. Okay. Let's see if I got that right. That camera, I did expect that camera to turn off. That actually made a bit of sense in some small way. All right. And then the title of this next song is often how I feel when I'm doing these shows, because this stuff's going by, and as I point out, do I got a dead light? Be right back. Is this a rogue light or a dead light? Oh, no, that's a rogue light. Good. I'm glad it's not dead. I don't have any spares. I think I might have one spare light. I'd have to look. I don't think I do. So, like that, it's like, if anything goes wrong, it's just me down here. And sometimes I feel like this next song. This is called You Have No Idea. And apparently I have no idea because... Okay, where am I at? I clearly have... Okay, something... I'm not sure what goes on. So I was on the correct unit, but something else is happening here. And I'm not sure what's... Because this occasionally I'll be on in the right spot and I'll hit the go button and it doesn't go. And I think that something else is activated somehow. Let's see if this works. And I just realized this follows right in with what I was saying before I started the last song, which is called You Have No Idea, and that's exactly how I so often feel when I'm doing these shows and trying to make things fit together. And this song is called What Happened? Definitely getting thirsty here. Working it up. You know, this I got these wedges out here, and they're stage monitors for listening to yourself. I don't actually have any sound running through them, but I found when I first started doing these longer form shows with doing 2 albums instead of 1, your feet kind of start feeling it. So it's nice to be able to put a foot up here. Kind of relaxes everything. I feel like this camera off on the side over here looks pretty good shooting up at this one. So I still may need to fiddle around with some of the positions of my cameras, but I feel like I'm honing in on things. We're gonna get things back going upbeat here again, get the tempo up a little bit, get the beats per minute going. The song is called Bottom of the Hill. thought I had some stuff going on over there. I don't. What I do have is a reason to bleed. We got Sour D tuning in from D Live. Thanks for coming in, Sour, and just donated 2 lemons. Thank you very much. That's awesome. Still totally digging the D Live platform. Been getting some people coming in on that one. It's been very cool. I have checked out a little bit of it. It's, because I'm going out to so many different sites, it's sometimes hard to keep up with the nuances of each of them. But thank you very much for coming in. We got Steven coming in from Facebook. Steven says, should it be a rule that no one is allowed to purchase a 7-string guitar until they show competency on a 6-string? Same applies to 5-string bassists. Also, are you taking applications for go-go dancers? So we got a few things going on here. 1, I need to switch my stupid camera. 2, I need to remember to get back to the correct applications so that my song actually plays when I hit play. And 3, I need to answer Steven's questions. So, again, I know Steven. Steven is an awesome dude. And on my 69th album, I'm going to be dedicating a song to him. He doesn't know the title of it yet, but I do. And going to be taking some different tactics on that particular song. I think he's going to be having a good time with it. But, the 7-string guitar thing. So, I play 6-string guitar in standard tuning. And when people ask me why, there's actually a really good reason for this, and it plays into what he's talking about, which is there is a frequency range for human ears that is very comfortable. And that range is largely governed by the range of a standard human voice, and even more so by the range, I believe, of the female voice. Because, generally speaking, in our childhood, when we need the most caregiving, our caregivers are often primarily female. So we're very tuned into the female vocal range. The male range really isn't generally all that much lower for just the usual vocal range. And what we find is if you look at really, guitar riffs are a great place to look at this. Really iconic guitar riffs, like Iron Man, Crazy Train, Thunderstruck, Highway to Hell, Hell's Bells. Angus Young has written more iconic guitar riffs than any other guitar player by far. You got Sweet Child of Mine, Smoke on the Water, Layla, Pretty Woman. All of these iconic guitar riffs are on standard tune guitars, 6 strings. And I'm pretty sure that I cannot prove this, but I am fairly sure that the reason is that when we start to push frequencies too far outside of that comfortable vocal range, it's dangerous. It literally indicates danger. So if you think about really high-pitched noises, high winds, screams of pain, screams of fear, the cries of children, the cries of injured animals, these are danger signals. When we think of very low sounds, volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, explosions, the subvocal growl of a predator, the growl of a predator, not even subvocal, these low sounds also indicate danger. So if we spend too much time in our music concentrating on sounds, making primary these sounds that are outside of this comfortable range, it starts to get uncomfortable. Now, like in all of those iconic guitar riffs, the highest note is a G note, way up there, which is a very high note. That's the highest note that's played in Sweet Child. It'd actually be 1 fret lower than that because he's tuned down a half step. But the bulk of that riff is not played that high. And so when we look at all of those riffs, all of those really iconic riffs, they fall right into that range. And even when we go outside of iconic guitar riffs, and we look at just really well-known musical phrases like Für Elise, still right in that same range. And the most well-known piano stuff, the most well-known just classical pieces in general, all fall within that range. And that's why when we hear like a soprano vocalist that does nothing but high notes, they usually don't get very far, because it's like that just starts to grate on your nerves after a while. So I think that's one of the biggest things to keep in mind when going to extended range instruments. Now, some could argue that the bass guitar, of course, is outside of that low vocal range, even for most dudes. But the bass is serving a different function. We're not making it the primary in-your-face thing. And the kick drum, same thing. It's a transient sound. So that's one of my big takeaways on just the concept of the 7-string and any kind of extended range instrumentation. It's important to keep that in mind. So as far as competency, if you're going to play a 7-string guitar competently, then you really need to understand how you're going to use that low string to make it effective. And I personally do not know of any really well-known 7-string guitar riffs. I know of some really good ones, like Under Peruvian Skies, the intro to that by Dream Theater, also A Change of Seasons by Dream Theater. I mean, freaking John Petrucci, brilliant. Those are great riffs, but most people have never heard them. So, and when it comes to competency on a 7-string, I think you need to be really cautious of how you approach it. And so kind of honing right in on his actual question, should you be competent on a 6-string first? I'll say this. If you cannot write a good song on a 6-string guitar, you cannot write a good song on a 7-string guitar. That extra string isn't going to change that. If you cannot do a good guitar solo on a 6-string guitar, you cannot do a good guitar solo on a 7-string guitar. The extended range there will absolutely not fix anything for you. If anything, it makes it more complex. You're going to need a higher level of competency on those guitars. And I think they're cool. When you see someone like Tosin Abasi, who plays 8 and 9-string guitars, again, Animals as Leaders, not terribly well known, absolutely brilliant music. Tosin is a stunningly good player. He can handle those strings. He's good. And I'll tell you what, if you hand Tosin a 6-string guitar, he can rip on that as well. He doesn't need those strings to be a good guitar player. So the competency, I don't know if it should be a requirement, but it should certainly be a consideration. And yes, the same thing does apply to 5-string basses for very much the same reasons. And finally, am I taking applications for go-go dancers? Absolutely, at all times, 24 hours a day, 365 days a week. I am always taking applications for go-go dancers. Those that do go-go dancing with badgers go right to the top of the list. If you are hired as a go-go dancer, sadly, I have no jobs for you, but I am taking applications. That's the important thing. So go to themadpoet.net, put your application for go-go dancer up on my contact form, just type in your qualifications, and I am accepting applications. Thank you very much for the awesome questions. No matter where you're coming in from, thank you for being here. I am the Mad Poet. You are an audience. We are the Mad Poet Society. Right now, we're playing my 53rd album. It's titled Partially Inexplicable. And wherever you're tuning in from, Facebook, Trovo, D Live, Twitch, YouTube, Cardo, Nono, Nemo, Vaughn, Africa, Livespace, whatever you're coming in from, I appreciate you being here. And I appreciate where you're going, because we're all going to the same place, to the burial chamber. All right, so we got Wooden Take tuning in on YouTube. Haven't seen you for a while. Thanks for coming in. And also Jack Walsh, my bass student. Good to see you, Jack. I actually see your chat this time. Jack was on a few days ago, and unfortunately I was unable to see the messages on YouTube. So that really kind of sucked. So I felt bad about missing him, but good to see you, bud. Hope you are doing well. I need to adjust the YouTube chat a little bit there. Cool. We're going to slow it down a little bit. We got, I believe, 3 songs left on this album. That last song that I played was the 7th song on the album. And the next song I'm going to play is the 8th song on the album. It's a system I came up with on my own. I came up with this thing, I'll just number things. So I can't believe no one's ever done that before. Totally original. I've also got this really original idea for writing a song about love. I can't believe no one's ever thought of that yet. Come on, people. Get your heads in the game. We're going to slow it down a little bit. Get some piano going here. This song is called Transcendental Intuition. Oh, it's got a long wait before the lights turn on. I need to take a look at that. Quick note of that one. Still working out the little things here and there to make the shows hopefully a little bit better. Close enough. Okay, we got 2 songs left of the show here today. Thank you for. Do we have 3? How many songs? Who wrote this album? Who am I? What's going on? No, we got 3 songs left. Okay, I got 11 songs on this album. I felt like something was missing there. This all makes sense now. I have got my life back in order. Thank you for being a part of it. This song is called "I've Been Looking for You." All right, this is the song that I forgot was on here, and how could I forget this? Because now, ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived at the second G sharp minor portion of the show. You are welcome. I'm going to slow it down here. The song is called The Goddess of the Sky. All right, gangsters, we got just one song left for the show today. Thank you very much for coming in. Sour D again, thank you for the tips on D Live. Steven, great questions on Facebook there. Hans, great to see you again. Jack, glad you can finally actually communicate with me here. Wooden Tank, anyone who's been in, if you've been chatting or just watching or listening or smelling the show, whatever you got going on, wherever you're coming in from, whatever time of day, night, evening, morning, or afternoon it is where you are at, thank you very much for being here. Again, for those who may not know, I am the Mad Poet. You are an audience. We are the Mad Poet Society. I'm going to be back tomorrow. Don't know exactly what time. Don't know what albums I'm going to be playing, but I will be playing a guitar. I'm not even sure if I'll be playing this guitar or one of the other ones. Nobody knows. Because right now, I do not have excessive focus.